Welcome back to another video on Gearsaw Studios, and today I'm going to be showing you how to build yourself an advanced forest base in the Nether. So that way you have access to the lava ocean, you got some striders, and then we even have some amenities like hogwens, and then it's perfectly livable with a really nice interior, all nicely decorated. Then we have some quartz walls, nice ceilings, brewing stands, and then we can go up and we have multiple layers, so it has everything you'd ever need in the Nether. So without further ado, let's investigate how we'd go about this. And if you're wondering, world download will be provided upon request. If you're having trouble with any part of the build, you can just tell me, hey, I'm having trouble with this part. So in case I go too fast on one portion, I can help you with it. So let's start the video. Starting off, well, you need a nice flat area. Preferably by the lava ocean. I chose a warped forest because of a poll said people like the forest, and the crimson forest is a little overdone, I think. So, the reason why I chose the lava ocean for this is because 1, striders, and 2, even if you do not have transportation issues anymore, aka you got the elytra, well, you should probably be getting good access to the lava anyways, because, well, it smelts 100 items. There's all your smelting problems solved, you're welcome. But anyways, well, building the dock is actually quite easy. You need some stairs for this. So polished black stone's pretty much just going to be the go-to block for literally everything. And I recommend making it actually 1 block above the lava ocean. So that way we can build some pillars. And you're probably wondering, how am I supposed to do that? And may I introduce to you the forgotten mechanic of brewing. So yeah, you're going to need a few fire resistance potions for this, but trust me, nobody's really expecting people to build right into the lava, so when you do, people will be surprised. Especially since, well, this is a survival base. It is 100% possible to do, and it's not even that difficult. Of course, you need to know how to actually play the game, but still. It should be generally quite easy for all audiences. Make this loop around and maybe make it into a bridge to some nearby areas if you have any nether infrastructure existing. Right here, I have this bridge, and it's a little bit higher than actual lava level, mainly just because it looked nicer and it would be a little bit hard to build. But anyways, it might look a bit complex, especially for a first step, but it's actually not too complicated. So right here, you can see, well, actually I'll just go in spectator mode for this. It doesn't actually go that far into the lava. Essentially, as long as you have a potion of fire resistance, this will be very easy to build. No resource packs to remove fog required. So this will be perfectly fine to build in survival. And then what we want to do is make 3x3 squares. And you can see right here 3x3, and then we surround it in some black stone stairs. On the corners we add full blocks. So something like that. And just for a little bit of reference, here is what a complete model outside of the lava would look like, because it's just annoying to look into the lava. So right here, we can analyze it thoroughly. This is a corner segment, but everything that applies here, well, will apply everywhere else. So of course, smooth basalt. If you're using stairs at any point, I recommend just using deep slate tiles instead. And then we have nether brick fences. We have the walls here on every 5th block, or is it 3rd? I don't know my numbers. But anyways, stairs here, polished basalt on the bottom with some more stairs. Take note of what is a brick and what is a polished block. Essentially, only these 4 blocks are bricks. And now, well, we have exactly what we need. So, putting it right back there. Then, we want to turn this area into a strider pen. You can see it's looping around, it's perfectly possible. We just need a bit more smooth basalt to make a completed walkway. And then, all the way down here, a little bit of a platform, not done yet. You don't have to worry too much how it looks from under, because like, if anyone's going under the lava, that's on them. So, just a little platform here, maybe a little bit of warped nylium or some chests, so that way you can have some stuff for strider care. Maybe a lead as well, and then a fence of course. But simple stuff like that for your infrastructure. Although the baby striders might seem like, oh no, they'd walk away. Well, if you're breeding striders down here, the babies will follow their parents, and then they'll grow up and be too tall to escape. So nothing will go wrong. Just have this loop around, close it up, have those pillars. If you have a walkway, so that way you can have striders go out then maybe some trapdoors would work. Never open these unless you're trying to ruin someone's day. Right here, this whole area is, well, strider ready. I can add some striders and then some weeds. Technically, if you're having issues, you could add some fence gates under here in order to make sure they actually don't leave. But personally, I just say use weeds. And of course, you have a flower pot. The warped fungus is there in order to attract all the striders back when you need them. And then, to add a little final detail, we should just add something to this piece here because, well, it's just lava. We can do better than this. So pretty much, whenever you're building something actually in the lava that isn't just a one block spire, you have to be careful not to actually disrupt the lava too much. So like going under, and make sure for certain you are placing at the right block, because lava does not automatically replenish like water, as in you don't want all these different lava flows everywhere. It's gonna be awful. So pretty much be very careful. And then for me, well, I'm in creative mode and I have a mildly modded version of the game, so I can just do this. But anyways, you can see it's going into the lava. We have to make sure those 2 pixels are visible. If people see that, well, they're gonna be like, this build looks a little unfinished. Like, you know, it's a very small detail, but it really shows that professionalism. Same thing with using grass paths in builds. But anyways, what you want is a little bit of a spire going on here, and then we can do some walls in the middle, and then it goes higher and higher, and then we can add something, maybe like an ultra frog light, something in order to signify, hey, there's a structure here. Because if it's all so low to the ground, like, it gets a little boring, you know? If we have something like a flagpole or a lighthouse, something, you know, it's going to be a lot more interesting. So, little change of plans. Turns out, these look really good as smokestacks, so, they're smokestacks now. All I did is put a soul campfire into there, so that way it was reduced lighting, and then copper grates, because copper works very well in the Nether, surprisingly. And then we need to work on the actual house. By the way, right here, bye-bye tree. So, pretty much, I'm gonna have this little part jut out. Of course, you also have your own worlds. I mean, if you have the same seed as me in the same spot, bravo. I don't know how that happened. But regardless, you can make little adjustments as you see fit according to the terrain. I got lucky and had a nice little coastline here, but if you have different circumstances, then of course, well, you can do different things. You don't have to follow this one for one. That's why I'm not giving exact instructions. Make use of your terrain. And then, what we want to do from here is figure out where the entrance should be. Maybe right about there or something. But I do recommend having a little corner piece here, where you can just put whatever. Maybe a little bit of crimson nylium, something accent-like. With this pathway going all around, we have the smokestacks, and this little corner area here is an intersection between a basalt delta and a crimson forest. Well, you can see, I've been doing a bit of work, and I should, well, explain. That's kind of my job. So basically, first off, I like to segment my things, and it can be a little restrictive, but if you do it right, it makes your builds look really refined and, well, durable, which is kind of what we're going for here. We're building with blackstone. And yeah, it's a pretty heavy looking block. Right here, this would be an extended foundation. I have the staircase going up here, and you can see how I have the stairs here in order to make them appear taller. And then, well, a line going up, more nether brick fences, and then up here, it just changes shape. Don't make a perfectly square build, that's kind of boring. Then, from here, whenever I had something exposed on the other side, well, I made it into a wall. Right here, we're going to have an entrance. And then we can extend this pathway wherever in order to create more walls and generally make the build a bit more varied. Up here, small nether wart farm will be added, nothing too crazy, and then we'll have the second floor here. So, a pretty decently sized build. You probably aren't going to be building this all in one real life day, but hey, it will last you for a very long time, or potentially could just be a forever base if you build basically several of them around and dedicate each one to a new thing. So, you have this upper layer. We can quickly just put up some temporary stuff. maybe make the upper layer a bit more square to make it easier to work with, or potentially go for a completely different shape, maybe even a curve. Something more circular like this, who knows? You might need to eyeball it a bit and think about what you want to do next. Of course, I advise watching the rest of the tutorial before you begin building though. As I continue working on this, making these pathways up here out of deep slate tiles, connecting things up, and then including a little bit of resin because, well, I like resin. It's actually really good. Yeah, one of the best things to come out of the Pale Garden actually. But anyways, right here I have this massive glass wall because, well, it looks cool. I recommend trying to implement large amounts of glass into your build too. Trying to build with nether only materials is going to get really constrictive really quick. Because otherwise, if you're trying to do that, say goodbye to pretty much anything transparent unless it's a trapdoor or a fence. So yeah, we're just going to stick with glass for this. And then from here, we need an entrance into the place. Make sure to include a black stone border around most things. You can include stairs like this. It's not very inhibiting. It might look good from the outside. You might have to test a few things though. I encourage you to try and implement your own things. Potentially look up tips and tricks when it comes to building a nether base. Because, well, that's how people share ideas. Use those ideas. And then you can make a better nether base using everyone's ideas. And yeah, that's how you actually build really well. You need to learn from others. So you can see here, this isn't necessarily working the first time, but if I do enough modifications to it, well, I can implement big glass wall, and then this can be our main living space. While down here, I can include a hoglin pen, and then this can be your storage, put a nether portal somewhere, and then we'll have a really nice nether base that can be expanded, turned into a whole city if we want to. Continuing to build this with more unique shapes, right here we have the general idea of what we want this place to look like. Still ironing out the walls, not entirely sure if I want to go with quartz pillars, but notice here how I have this massive piece missing. Well, I'm going to include something kind of like a lava river here. Of course, not all of you will have, well, lava everywhere, but even if you don't, you can make your own artificial lava lake. You don't need to make it very deep. It can be 1 block deep for safety reasons, and nobody will be none the wiser. So, like, you can just place lava. There's lava all around. You can take it from wherever. Then, right here, I have a work in progress hoglin stable. Notice the fence gates on every piece, so that way, if there's an emergency, you can leave. And then going around, right here, added another entrance because it's always good to have more entrances. The last thing you want is to be stuck on the wrong side of your build with a bunch of enemies. So be careful about that. Anyways, gonna have this go around, more of the pathways, staircase up, work out the walls, and you can see what I'm doing here. For the interior, just make sure that, well, it's a block you can get a lot of. For the exterior, make sure that it's ghast proof. Since I've been going kind of quick here, let's just do a recap of everything I've suggested on the actual house itself. So of course, mini biome spot in case you just wanted it to. Then we have these deep slate columns. Notice the stairs here to make it appear taller. These wrap around. And then on this part, I carved it out so that way I could have lava falls instead. Note the extra entrance and bridges over the lava. You don't actually need to have a natural lava pit here, I just got lucky. And then around here, there's nothing going on. Not every side needs to be crazy interesting, but make sure it's a little better than just plain flatness like I have right here. I'm going to remove some trees so that way I can make it a bit more interesting. Then right here, I have a nice slab roof so that way it connects with the stairs. And then up here, I have these little spikes. They're actually called teeth. And then shroom lights to make sure it's well lit from the bottom. All in all, there's a lot to cover. I can't cover every single detail, but still, this should provide a bunch of things. Right here, checkerboard with smooth, non-smooth quartz actually, and polished blackstone. Then, we have a trapdoor here for the netherite mine. Go through this door, you come into the main building, and then this area here will be relegated for a spiral staircase. And right here can be whatever, maybe a bedroom. So that way, in case you just wanted to blow up your house, you have a bed. And then right here, these windows are actually magma cube eyes. Yeah, they're actually magma cube eyes. And they're just a little balcony here. Does not serve any purpose. Would recommend adding a chair though. And then these areas here, because they're small and pointy, maybe I could do a nice tall pointy roof right here using this kind of format. And then once I get to the top, I'd add a slab, one that would preferably be matching, and I can make it go across. There's a lot of different ways you can do this build, but essentially you should try out a bunch of random ideas and see if they work. If you have a flat wall, well, get rid of it. Make it a bit more interesting than just flatness, because when you have a flat wall, that isn't meant to just be a wall. It gets really boring really quick. So now you should have a general idea of how to keep going on this. From here, start putting in some of your amenities once you find room. With a bit more exterior work done and the interior done, technically the build is complete, but of course I should do a recap of everything you can do. So of course, one, the hoglins, and then on the inside I did the checkerboard, and then I promptly added a bunch of things. We have our storage here, an actually reasonable amount for most players because yeah, apparently I had too much storage. A little bit of a workplace here. I was meant to add a spiral staircase, but instead I made a kitchen. Notice the roof is alternating shapes for warped stems. Then paintings here, some nice rails on top of the smoker. Technically this build has no furnaces, although you could really easily add them. Potentially even just make them the floor here. You know what, I'm gonna do that real quick. Here, let me get my replace tool, and then get out some furnaces. And then right here, there we go, hidden storage. So we have another portal back home, a nice checkerboard, which is now actually really practical. We have golden armor, so that way piglins, in case you built this in the Crimson Forest instead. Then right here, lava falls with easy access over, no jumping required. Then we go up to the second floor by some weird parkour because of course I ran out of room. Paintings here, shroom light on the ceilings, nice curvature here. Pause if you want to take a look how I do it. But basically, it's just a slope, go up, ladders, little extension, and then right here, brewing arrangement, chest for whatever, loom arrangement. You could add more lighting to make sure nobody spawns in here. More paintings, candles. Notice how few times I use something green. Then trophies. I recommend building this pretty late into your playthrough. I mean, look at this. This is a lot of quartz, a lot of blackstone. But still, right here, we have a bunch of treasures that would reasonably be had by someone playing a very long-term world. Right here, bookcase, and then right here, your bedroom for all of your sleeping purposes in the Nether. Anyways, around here, notice the teeth. I added them all across with varying designs each time. Then this little balcony here, it's empty, but I think it's super picturesque. See? Really nice here. So you could potentially remove some fences. I keep this window undone so that way you can elytra out. And then all across here, flat wall here, but notice how I use a bunch of stairs to keep it interesting, even though there's nothing going on here. And then I have a few more walls here in order to make it look spiked. Essentially, if you establish like walls are this height, and I do that throughout the rest of the build, they're usually 1 block tall. Then I have these 2 block tall ones here, and then 4 block. And you can see from here, it makes that piece look a lot taller than it really is. And it adds to the weird imposing modern vibe this base is going for. But still, with all that covered, it's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this video, remember, please like and subscribe, and remember, try doing your windows in a nice fiery fashion, and, well, enjoy the rest of your day. Gearsaw out.